My name is Sharon, and I'll just preface by I'm a missionary in Hungary now for 20 some years. And I had started writing music like 5 years ago, and I started reading different books about writing music. I kind of didn't have any idea what I was doing. It was kind of a gift that I asked him for more opportunities to do music things. I didn't feel particularly talented, but I wanted to do more. So I started ordering books and reading books. And at some point in the pandemic, Amazon recommended Chrissy's book to me because I'd made similar purchases in the past. I thought, well, that looks really good. So it was new, but I didn't have any idea it was new. I think I ordered the Kindle and I started reading it and thought, oh, this is amazing. So as soon as I started reading the book, then I started looking at the website and taking the test online and looking at the resources. And at some point last year, I guess I took like the shorter version of the writing worship course, like I know it's five weeks, or I don't even remember anymore. But I took that and I really liked it. I was very interested in taking the mentorship. One of the big reasons I wanted to take it was because we're kind of isolated, just because of where we live. I felt like I don't have anyone that I could learn songwriting with or do songwriting with. I don't really know anyone who's doing it. And so that was the thing I was particularly interested in. And so I thought, oh, if I do the mentorship, it'll give me opportunities to kind of see how I work with people in co-writing situations where I didn't really have that opportunity. So that was I really wanted to learn the things that were in the book, like more opportunity to practice it. But a lot of it was just having the opportunity to practice it kind of live and in a situation that wasn't so intimidating. Like, you're working with somebody who's already done 100 co-writes and you're thinking, who am I? I don't know what I'm doing, and they're going to be impatient with me, and I'm going to, slow them down. And so it felt like a really good scenario. And somebody else, because it was a mentorship, it felt like there'd be somebody kind of coaching us and giving us some help along the way. So I feel like the mentorship really supports the book. It gives you an opportunity to practice what was learned there. It was very, very helpful, and in ways that I didn't necessarily anticipate. I was telling my husband this morning in the car that one of the things that was surprising to me, I thought that maybe it was going to be too affirming. It might sound kind of weird, but I thought that maybe there'd be too much like, oh no, that was great. When I think like, it's not all great, really, it's not all great. And so sometimes when it's too affirming, then you kind of miss out on like some of the critique of it. But I thought, well, I don't want to be too critical. But what I found was that as we were going through, you start to see other people's giftings become more and more apparent. But also I began to have a picture of my own giftings. I could start to see maybe things that I had to offer that I thought, oh, well, anybody can do this. And I couldn't really see that it was my gifting. So it felt really interesting, kind of a God-sized thing, that in highlighting in everyone's giftings being kind of drawn out and being affirmed, it didn't push anyone down. There wasn't a lot of like negative critique, but it also allowed my own gifts to start to flourish or shine. So that was a really encouraging thing. And I also, this past week, we were doing a week-long camp, an English camp, and I was invited to sing with a team. And when I've done it a few times before, but I'm always kind of nervous and not very confident in the thing. I think, oh, I don't want to mess it up or whatever. And something about this class, I don't even know how it's directly related, but it started just kind of giving me confidence. Like, these are skills that God's given me. It's okay to use them, not like obnoxiously, but kind of just boldly, like to kind of start stepping out and just trusting that He's gonna make the way for that gift, that He's the one, this gift belongs to Him. He's given it to me, but not for me to kind of, like hide it under a bucket basket or whatever, to instead like allow it to kind of shine, because it's His light that's shining. And so in the past, maybe when I was singing, it's kind of hesitant, and that doesn't tend to make for a really nice voice, but I found that this past week was the first time that I've ever been able to sing in public where I felt like, oh, this is God's gift. This is okay. And I felt more freed up to do it. And I wouldn't have thought that a songwriting mentorship would have given that to me. So it was kind of an unexpected gift. And then the refining, the actual mentorship helped with a lot of refining of the skills that I already had. Some things I've been working on already for a couple of years. I could start to see like, oh, this is a real gift. I can make it better. I felt like I had the skills then to continue making it better and better. And to anybody who's considering the class, I would really encourage it. It was such an encouraging time for me. It wasn't so long that it feels like you're doing like, a full length college class with, the level of work that comes with it. But it was a fair amount of work, but it's so enjoyable. It's so like you kind of want to make time for it to be able to come and sit and do the work in the psalming or in the journaling, the different assignments that were given. So I think it's well worth the time and the money to invest in, because it pays back so richly. And then I think also the relationships that are formed, that in itself is so helpful. I feel like now I have a couple of people that I could turn to and say, hey, would you be interested in doing that? I had this idea. Would you like to work with me on this? Or do you know someone that, so I just felt like developing those first few relationships was really helpful. And Stacy in particular was really helpful because the time zone that I'm in is really off from most of the people. So I was 9 hours off of the furthest person in my group. And that makes for a really challenging co-writing session. But Stacy kind of went above and beyond and figured out how to work out some co-writes more in my time zone. So I was really, really thankful for that. So she was a great mentor. The people in my group were really talented. It was a little intimidating in the beginning, but then it pretty quickly kind of like, oh, it's okay. They have different gifts than mine, and we complement each other. And this is God's good plan for us to be together. So it was fabulous 9 weeks.